one or the other.
Yeah, it's gorgeous out here, out on the East Coast. We're today, I guess it's upper 40s, but yesterday was 60.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow, gorgeous.
Wait, where are you, Marty?
I'm outside of Annapolis in Arnold. I'm like 15 minutes from the town of Annapolis. I'm looking at you up here, but you're down here. I have a monitor, so I can see you guys nice and big.
Sure.
But my camera's down there, so when I'm looking up here, that's why.
Isn't that amazing when you start thinking about it? You're in Annapolis and we're in
I know, isn't that
mid
fun?
Wisconsin or wherever.
You know what? That is the gift that we got from COVID. It is brilliant to be able to do that. You can take workshops from all over. I did a workshop with Pam Wegner, and a man joined us from Ireland. So it was like 1 a.m. there, right? It's all dark.
oh yeah.
Oh my.
I had a lady from France that used to watch me do the Facebook Live, and we did it at noon till 1:30 on Saturdays at that time, and she was eating dinner while she was watching us.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
And she could see the Eiffel Tower.
And she could see the Eiffel Tower from her apartment.
Oh, isn't that too bad? Poor thing.
I just see a big white pine out our backyard. Well, we're going to get started.
Janet, where do you live? Sorry.
That's okay. I'm in Long Grove, right outside of, I'm halfway between Chicago and the Wisconsin border.
Okay, so everybody's West Coast except or middle of the country, right?
But then I'm in Florida sometimes in St. Petersburg. So 1 week every month I'm in.
Okay,
that's why it gets
how Florida was in my head. Okay.
And you can always tell because it doesn't look like this. It looks like Florida.
It looks sunny.
Right, it looks really blue and bright as opposed to woods and.
Right, gotcha. How boring.
Mary's going to pin me so that Carol can see what I look like. It's the only time she does it, the first class for new people. Because I don't like to scare the older people that have been in class.
That's a good plan.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, Annapolis will be calling you because you did last year. We can't have you this year. We're going to look at next year. So they'll be calling you.
Oh, thank you.
I have the dubious honor of being the secretary now, so I'm in the know.
All right. I had a lot of fun with Annapolis.
It's a nice group.
Yes, it's a wonderful group. I'm doing one for the Essex Watercolor Club in New Jersey this weekend.
Nice.
And I had done a demo, and I'm doing a workshop this weekend with them. So again, it's a lot of fun. I'm doing a waterfall this weekend for them.
Oh, that we're going to do a waterfall too, aren't we? Our 2-day waterfall.
We are actually going to do a 2-day waterfall this 5 weeks.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
The 4th and 5th week, we're going to do a 2-day, a 2-session waterfall.
That sounds fun.
And for the new people, just so you know what's going on, we are recording everything. And I take pictures with my phone every time I stop in the paint along, so you know where I stopped and where I started. And the video goes out to you within approximately 2 days. And that way, if you don't finish, you can go ahead and you can finish your painting, or you can redo it if you want. It's all up to you and how you want to do it. You can send me emails with your finished paintings at any time, or you can show me within the next session. Doesn't make any difference. It's fine. But the recording is kind of like the net, to where when I was a student, you'd watch the instructor and nothing was recorded back then, of course. And then you try to remember everything he did. And of course, you don't remember everything that he did, so that you go ahead with the video and you can stop and start it, and you have it for as long as you want it.
As long as YouTube's up.
Yeah, as long as YouTube is up. So
I love that, because remember I had to leave last time and I did do my painting, and I love being, because you're quick, and I'm trying to, but it's great to be able to pause and start again.
I try to gauge the time. it's 2.5 hours. And then in between of you painting and me painting, I'm spending maybe 45 minutes to an hour on the painting completely. And it's the same thing as we did in the workshops that I've taught. It's a paint along. So I do the first
I love
part,
it.
and then you do the first part, and we continue on till we're finished.
And then that we send out with the video, what we call the start to finish packet. So it's what you originally got, but then we also add those photos that he took of the different step 1, step 2, step 3, and the final painting. That's also included.
Last week's or right before
That
Christmas.
turned out good, Marty.
Yeah, that was when my granddaughter had the flu. Seems to be our story.
I remember now.
Are you saying, excuse me, are you saying that it's 2.5 hours once you start teaching us? Or is that, did I miscalculate that?
We go from 10:30 to 1 o'clock.
Okay, that's it.
The thing is, sometimes students won't finish everything, but the video comes out to you to where you can finish.
Okay, that's perfect. Yeah.
It works out real well. And I don't know of too many other instructors that actually do that online, because once it's done, and you're going, well, how did he finish that?
Yeah.
And also what's nice about the videos, you can stop it, you can run it back and go, what did he do with that toothbrush again?
What the heck was he talking about?
Okay.
But you'll have that for as long as you want. And the thing about watercolor, for those who haven't taken a lot of watercolor before, we have, I gotta see everybody here. Oh, I gotta do this. I'm touching the screen here like my iPad, and I'm looking at, okay, I want to see Carol down here. She looks like the aviator this morning. But the thing about watercolor is that when you're doing the block in, and I'll be re-explaining things all the time, you're going to paint from large areas to small areas. Never detail, that's always very last. You're going to be painting from background to foreground, and that's repetition of going after the first wash, second wash, third wash, going back into the background and coming forward again. So you want to finish everything in the background first and then come forward to the foreground. And I will talk about this again, so you don't have to write so quickly, Carol. And you're painting your values from lighter values to darker values. So it's not that you're just painting light values, you're blocking in the darks also, but you'll find that watercolor will dry up to 50% lighter depending on the pigment, depending on the color itself. So, and it also depends on the humidity in your room. If you have high humidity, they'll dry slower. If you have low humidity, they'll dry real fast, which is frustrating. So sometimes I will wet the paper and sometimes I won't. So it depends on the subject matter, how I want it to look. And it's something that you get used to. The first watercolor you do, as I was a student so many years ago, your first one will not be wonderful. Okay, I have other words for what I did, but it's something that is not going to be to your satisfaction.
There's mine.
There's Janet's first watercolor.
That was 5. No, it'll be 6 years now. 5 years. 5 years now.
5 years, 6 years?
5 years. And then I tried to redo it, and it looked like that. It was worse, but things got better. So just remember that no matter how it turns out, it'll be okay, because there's another class, and the next one looked so much better.
Well, after you start, and as I always tell students, after you ruin your first painting and start again, you're working from experience.
Yeah.
And that will help you progress through it. The more mistakes you make at the beginning, the better off you are, because those mistakes is what you build on, and those will be diminished as time goes. It's something that watercolor is a harder medium than oils. It's not as forgiving, obviously. but I always found it to be more fun. I like the way the watercolor flows, and let it do what it wants to do. Don't try to chase it across the paper. So we're going to get started here. As I mentioned before, if you can't make it to class, send me an email the night before, the morning of, so I know what to anticipate. Okay. So, all right. This is the watercolor that we ended up with just before Christmas that we did.
Oh, beautiful.
And there's a number of things that you will learn in doing this, along with patience. The one thing that you'll always learn with watercolor is patience. But we are going to be using with this particular painting, we're using ultramarine blue, cobalt, sap green, burnt sienna, and raw sienna. And remember, you're interpreting the photograph, you're painting the painting, you're not painting the photograph. So don't overthink it. We always handle things very simply at the beginning. These are the brushes that I use. I have a 3/4 inch rosemary brush that's a pointed cat tongue. This is an oval 1/2 inch, 1 inch flat. This has become one of my favorite brushes. This is a calligraphy brush that I got for Christmas a couple years ago. There's a packet of 4 of them, and it was about $33 from Rosemary.
And it's only gone up to 34 with the tariffs.
It's gone up to 34 with the tariffs now. So it's an excellent, still, this is real hair. I only believe in using real hair brushes, not the synthetic. And I have a number 6 round, and I have a number, I think this is a number 1. They call it a liner brush. And it's my smallest brush I use for smaller detail, which I don't get into that a lot unless it requires that. So I'm going to start off with this brush here, and I'm going to take my spray bottle, and also I have my wife's toothbrush. So just make sure you clean your spouse's toothbrush before you put it back. So I'm going to spray just the sky up here because I want the watercolor to flow and not show brush strokes and so forth. So I just wet the top of the paper up here. And I'm going to take the cobalt blue. I'm not worried about the clouds. I'm going to take a little bit of ultramarine blue. I always put out fresh paint every time I paint, unless I just painted an hour ago. And I'm going to take a little bit of the raw sienna, which will help gray the color of the sky down a little bit, because I don't want it quite blue. And the more water you add, the lighter the value will be. And I don't worry about, like I said, worry about where the watercolor is flowing. I'm just being very casual, very loose with this. When I paint, I try to paint through objects as much as possible. Other times I'll paint around objects, and I will come back and include it within the first wash.
For those of us who this is the first time,
yes,
should we just, even though we don't have it painted, should we just, draw it out? Should we just draw it real quickly or just start going?
No, you should have it all drawn on the paper.
Oh, okay. Well, if it's our first time, we don't have it all drawn yet, but we'll give it a try.
Okay.
Okay.
I send you out the drawing, the photograph, a black and white photograph. The drawing has to be done before class.
I get it. Okay. After this.
Yeah. And then I'll have to send a note to your mom.
Oh, and tell her I have to be a good girl.
Yeah. I'm taking I take a little bit of burnt sienna here and some raw sienna and take it down here and add a little bit of cobalt to it. And I'm going to block in some of this shrub that's out in front of the buildings. I don't worry about painting across the person that I put in. And I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more burnt sienna. And I'm going to come across the background here very quickly. I'm going to take some raw sienna and I'm going to and I'm using my colors very intense at the beginning. I'm not over mixing the color because I don't want to have too many grayed colors at the beginning. You can always gray things down as you move along. And I add a little bit of sap green. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet the lower half so that this flows a little bit nicer. I'm going to use the side of the brush. Now I added green in on the palette. There's not a lot of green here, but I added it for the building and I'm going to move that green around a little bit. So I'm going to take the green and the raw sienna here. And a little bit more raw sienna. So about every 4 or 5 brush strokes, I am changing the color or the temperature or the value of things. And I'm allowing this to flow into the rest of the painting here so that it actually is unifying itself. And usually my block in at the very beginning is fairly quick. I'll give you plenty of time to follow along. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the little bit of the green here with the raw sienna, and I'm going to block in the building in the background here. And I allow it just to flow together. And then I'm going to take a lot of water with the raw sienna, which will give me a very light value, because I really don't want any white, if possible, to show up on the paper after the first wash, any large areas. So this is working to where everything is working together. And I'm going to take the toothbrush and I'm going to take some of the green and some of the blue here and some of the burnt sienna. And I'm going to spritz this on the paper for texture. And after the first class, for the people that are new, you'll get used to using the toothbrush. I'm just flicking it with the very end of the brush here, and I'm pulling towards me. Don't push it away from you because you'll get sprayed. Now, what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to take a little bit of paper towel and I'm going to lift while it's still wet. You can do it after it's dry, but I'm going to lift while it's still wet to pull out a little bit of light here, a little bit of light out in front here. This will help with the texture of the grasses. And I don't worry about too much about the small areas of white paper showing, but that's the first wash. And what I do is I take a picture of it so you know where I ended up in each sequence of washes. Mm-hmm. Now, when you're done doing this, I'll ask to see what you have. That's where you have to be brave and show it. And that glistening that's right in here, that will dry up. That's the water. And if you have any questions, please don't be afraid to ask while you're painting. But everything is unified now in color, and you try to keep all your edges as soft as you can for as long as you can. So there's really no hard edges showing at this point. And all you have to do is remember to unmute yourself when you have a question.
Okay, now I think I have my block in. Let's see if we can see.
All right.
Is that sufficient?
You can add more yellow in here, the raw sienna,
Okay,
while it's still wet.
got it.
This is what I have.
Hold it a little bit closer. Okay, I'm looking at what you have. I just had to decipher. It was too far away. You can add a little bit more yellow up front here also.
Okay.
Some of the raw sienna.
Now, for those of us who are just beginning this particular class, I'm still working on trying to get the drawing. There's room for all of us, right? I mean, we don't have to start putting color in right away, do we?
You should,
We should.
yes.
We should. Okay. Okay, this will take a little bit more work.
All right.
Yes, okay.
We'll hold on for a minute. Yeah, it's just like the workshop. All your drawings are done before you walk in.
Oh, good. Good. Yeah.
But don't feel bad.
Oops.
That's why we do the video. It helps people catch up.
That's wonderful. Yes. Good. I will need that.
Oh, I know I would have if I was when I was a student.
Let's see.
So Dale, I see in the reference photo,
Yeah,
there's kind of a haystack down front.
yeah, it's not there now.
Okay, are we gonna do a haystack?
No,
No, we're not. Okay.
no, you don't want to get involved with a haystack. There's too many things going on in the foreground. It is in shadow, which I'm going to put it in shadow. But
Yeah.
the first thing I look at is what do I have to simplify?
Okay.
And I took out several things. I made the fellow that was kind of crouched down stand up and walk away from us.
Yeah.
He didn't like me.
Yeah, there was a fire ring too. I could tell we're not doing a fire ring.
No, is there a fire ring?
Yeah, there is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's got pallets out there and a fire ring.
Yeah, he's burning them. Yeah.
I don't know why, because it's very dry out there. He's going to burn down.
Yeah, it's dangerous. What's he thinking?
Yeah.
I'm glad you fixed it for him.
Yeah, I don't want my painting burning away.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for the new folks, you'll get used to the timing of things as we move along. So don't feel that you're, I guess, lost. Don't feel bad, because I know when I was in class, I felt lost quite a bit back in college. So.
I'm ready to show. Oh, where's my video? I had to go get a camera. This is Carol. Let me see here.
All right.
So I ran off. I could hear you all. But I think this is what I've got. Well, let me see if it, it'll come. It's okay.
That's
Let me
right.
see here. I think it didn't like to be
There
moved.
we go.
Let me see
Hold
here.
it back a little bit more. What kind
It's
of paper?
it's upside down, isn't it?
Yeah,
I'm gonna struggle with showing my work because
that's all
I
right. That's all right.
masked it down. That's upside
Don't
down.
don't feel bad because when we started recording things, we struggled too, and we've gotten different equipment over the years, and it helps. So
Yeah.
so far so good. What kind of paper are you using, Carol?
I um I already had arches and it's not 300, so you could probably that's why I
If
tacked it down with
okay, if it is from now on, if
yeah.
it is 140, you
I
can
think
do
it
it
is.
without taping.
I can.
Yes, and let it float because if you tape it all the way around, you're going to end up with hills and valleys.
Okay.
And you probably want to take off the tape on
I can do that now.
the two sides and the bottom, and just keep the tape at the top.
Perfect. Okay.
And you should be fine because it has to
Okay.
expand and contract. The 300-pound does expand and contract, but not half as much.
Yeah. I was being cheap because I already had some stuff and I was trying to make do and I wondered about I think it's 140.
Yeah, because I'm using an indigo watercolor paper, which unfortunately has gone up in price with the embargoes and taxes and what have you. But I've been using this for a while because it lends itself towards what subject matters I paint. Occasionally, I'll use hot press. I had a workshop of using hot press papers in a just in a town north of us called Land O'Lakes. I did a 2-day workshop up there, and using hot press is quite a bit different. And it was kind of fun to do because they usually use the cold press or the rough.
I stay away from hot press because it scares me. That's
Um,
all.
it actually is.
It's so intense, I think, and I don't know what to do with
Uh,
the
yeah,
fineness of
I
it.
understand that. I use hot press when I'm doing animals, or once in a rare occasion, I do some portrait work of different things because it gets you a little bit more accurate drawing. You're not bumping along the paper. Um, but hot press is interesting, and it gives you a totally different look on your watercolor, and it's actually kind of fun to do because if you do the same thing all the time, uh, you kind of okay, this is what this is going to be, and that's what that's going to be. Um, Occasionally, I do like surprises. It keeps me on my toes. But don't worry about showing brush marks as far as from one area to another, as long as they're not hard brush marks. You want you can see brush marks go through here, but they're all soft.
All right, there's mine.
Okay, Marty, that's good.
Okay.
That's a good start. But we don't try to duplicate what's in the photograph. We try to interpret. And I'm going to be using a lot more color than what is in the photograph. Sometimes I do paint a little bit on the grayer side, which this photograph has a lot of grayness to it. But I like to make things a little bit happier looking. Carol, where are you from?
I'm in Oak Park,
Oh,
Illinois.
okay.
Yeah. I've been wanting to do this class for years, and I've always had responsibilities that got in the way. So I'm very
Yeah.
excited to
I
play.
had my first one-man show in Oak Park years and years ago, 1985, 86, somewhere in there, at a gallery called the Painting Place.
I don't think it's here anymore.
It was right. I don't think so. The what was her last?
Mary Follett.
Her last name was Follett. Her husband printed all the books for the school system. He owned the company.
Oh, the Follett? Yeah.
Yeah. And that was probably one of the best galleries I've ever been in. She sold a lot of my work. She was a good salesman. And she had another lady that was kind of her partner in this. And it wasn't a big gallery, but it was, I think 1 block off the Eisenhower on the east side of Oak Park. And
yeah.
She was sharp.
She would be 100 by now.
Yeah, she had to be 100 or more by now.
I've lived here only maybe 30 years, and I don't remember that. So I'm thinking it was before.
She retired just the last year I was in the gallery. I was in the gallery for about 3 or 4 years.
Well, we had the show in 86.
Yeah, we had the show in 86. I think she retired in 1990. So that would have closed it at that point, just when you're coming in or before you came in. Oak Park is a wonderful town, has great houses.
It does.
My dad always wanted to move to Oak Park. He was from Chicago, but we were out in Glen Ellen, way out.
Which has its own beautiful houses, the turn of the century.
Yeah, beautiful 3-story homes.
They don't tear them down.
I remember when they put the Eisenhower in, they were taking houses down, and it ended at First Avenue because they had to exhume half the cemetery and move them that was right there. And it's like, I remember my mom, we were going down to pick up my dad. My mom parked on the bridge there at First Avenue, and we were watching them, and they were exhuming all these coffins down there, which was kind of macabre at that point.
Oh my.
Wow.
We discovered an old, all the rest got thrown out, but an old film of my grandparents, which we converted it and made it into digital. They're from Pennsylvania, but they were exploring the Eisenhower Expressway by car. And what do you know? They came up over before the Sears Tower. They came up over, and then they came out through the Eisenhower, and they had filmed that back in the 60s. And it's kind of amazing that here I am living at this very exit that they filmed.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Not knowing that there's no way that would ever have. They didn't know Illinois.
Yeah.
But I think it was an adventure, like this new interstate highway available for exploration and going to Mount Rushmore, and like they took this film of it.
Yeah.
It was a big deal.
Yeah, all the highway systems started with Eisenhower in the late 50s. And he was enthralled with the Autobahn in Germany when he was over there. And that's what he designed it after at that point.
Well, because he wanted to make sure we were safe.
And also, he wanted to make sure that we were safe, that the military could travel. That was the one big reason.
And that's where our Social Security money went to.
And that was the first time they took out money out of our Social Security.
For military access.
Yeah. They never put anything back. You notice that?
Yeah.
How you doing, Janet? All right, you're fine. That's good. Okay. Don't worry. Be happy. We're going to get started again. I'll wait for Carol to come back in the picture here.
I'm right here.
Okay.
I have audio issues without headphones ever since an update. So sorry about that.
Just love that.
Yeah, I had an update and it created chaos. I'm ready.
How are you doing, Mary?
All right.
Is it all right if I go ahead?
Yes, it is. It is.
Okay.
Thank you.
I don't want to go too far ahead of you at this point.
Well, this is not going to be the Mona Lisa, let me tell you. But anyway,
The Mona Lisa wasn't smiling. We're going to try to make you smile.
Okay.
Is that who's walking down there? It's Mona.
Okay, I want to show the new folks again in a little bit for the people who've been with me about dry brushing. When you mix up a color, I'm going to take the raw sienna and the burnt sienna here. When you mix up a color, to do dry brushing, I'm tapping it off on the paper towel up here to get a little bit of the moisture out of it. And then I'm going to drag the brush on its side. And you can dry brush and it's not so fluid. And you can also change colors, and you can add things to it as you move along, like so.
Can you turn it more toward the camera?
Oh, sorry. I'm painting for me, obviously. But I can change things like that with the dry brush, but I am not using a lot of water here. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add in whatever I need to on this. But this is the dry brushing technique. Now, I could take and wet the brush, dry it off a little bit with no pigment in it, and I can go ahead and I can soften off some of these areas down here at the bottom, and it will drag some of the pigment with it, like so. But the dry brushing technique, they call it scumbling in watercolor. When I was taking the class, I thought they were calling it stumbling. And then I added a little bit more water to this. I can add some more pigment into this while it's still wet. But once the pigment, the glossiness of the color has gone away on the paper, don't add anything to it, because you'll end up with all these blooms going all over the place, and it could ruin your watercolor. So going back in too late can cause a problem. So try to stay going into it when it's still wet. Now this is dry to a certain extent. You can see that it has a little bit of bounce to it, which means it's still damp to a certain degree. And I'm going to take the hair dryer, which is one of the few times I use it. I don't use it a lot when I'm in the studio by myself, but I'm going to use the hair dryer for a moment. The reason why I use the hair dryer is that when I touched it with the back of my hand, not the palm, because the palm has oil on it, it's no longer cool. If it's cool, it still isn't dry. So when you're working wet on wet, it stays wet longer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and start working on some darker darks. And not using a lot of water here, if you noticed. I only went in, when I'm mixing colors back and forth, try to watch me mix the colors on how many times I go back into the water and how many times I don't. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to dry brush this in here.
And this was what colors?
These were the burnt sienna, raw sienna, and a little bit of the ultramarine blue, I believe. Now, what I'll do with the toothbrush, you can see it's showing colors that are showing up from the first wash. I'm going to take a little bit of the raw sienna here with my toothbrush, and I'm going to spritz in. It's a technical watercolor term, spritz. It's also, you can order a wine spritzer at a bar. I'm going to add a little bit more ultramarine blue to this, and I'm going to make it a little bit darker as I come down. I'm going to dry it off a little bit more. And I'm going to overlap it onto the barn and the back barn, as we call it. And I'm going to add a few of the branches that are in here. And the reason why I'm doing it now is that these branches won't be sharp edged so much. They'll soften into what I already put in. And I'm going to take a little bit more burnt or ultramarine blue, dry the brush off again, and come back down to the bottom. I'm also going to take the green at the same time with some ultramarine blue in it and a little bit of the brown that I've mixed up there. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to block in part of the cabin. So I try to combine things as much as possible. I don't try to separate things. So I'll work out from this point to a great degree. And I'm going to take a little bit of raw sienna here. Wipe it off on the brush, and I'm going to add a little bit of color there. And then I'm going to go to the other side of the cabin here, or the structure, and I'm going to add some more color to it that's a little bit darker. I'm going to add a little bit of ultramarine blue to it, a little bit more. Take a little bit of that green. And I'm just going to kind of dry brush it in to where I've painted that side of the structure. Then I'm going to go across to the structure in the background here. That is going to be a little bit lighter in value because darks get lighter as they move back. I'm going to paint around the windows that I've put in here. Not worried about the roof. Going to add a little bit of raw sienna in on this. So I'm trying to add, I never paint anything one color. I try to add other colors in from around it into it. And I'm going to take some of the raw sienna and some of the burnt sienna. And I'm going to dry the brush off again. And I'm going to pull in some of that color back in here.
Wow.
And allow it to run right up into the cabin. And then I'm going to dry brush in this other tree that I put in. Wasn't in the photo because I do add things that occasionally. I'm going to take a little bit of that darkness here. And I bring it all the way across front here. I'm just going to be handling this in here on this section. I'm going to add on some smaller branches up in here. And allow them to go right up and out of the photograph. It's done with raw sienna. I'm going to take a little bit of blue here, straight blue, and I'm going to add it right in here. And when I put it in there, it will mix in with the colors that are already wet.
Is that cobalt or ultramarine?
That was ultramarine.
Mm.
Now I'm going to go to the other side over here, and I just rinse my brush out just a little bit. Then I'm going to take this green and blue here. I'm going to make it a little bit darker. I'm going to take some of the brown, and I'm going to paint right up next to the cabin. Now, I painted this a while ago, and timing of watercolor is everything. This will hold its edge to a great degree. And we have a little bit of a dark back there, and I'm going to take some of this other color that's back here. This is going to be a little bit grayer. And I'm just going to very quickly put this off to the side here, like so.
Mm.
Okay, so I'm going to stop right at this point. So what I did is I took the raw sienna, the burnt sienna, and I dry brushed up in here. And then I came down and started adding more ultramarine blue to this area. and I darkened it as it came down. I don't have a lot of water in my brush at all. I didn't even bother going back to the thing, the water container. Then I added a blue green in here, so it's darker. I'm going to darken it up a little bit more as we move through it. And then I came across and added a little bit more green and blue in here, but not grayed down with the burnt sienna. This was more just green and blue. Then I traveled across to this cabin, adding some of this color in a lighter back here. Dry brushed this tree in with a lot of burnt sienna and raw sienna, and added a few little things in here. And I brought the raw sienna, burnt sienna mixture up into this area so that it flows up into the barn and doesn't create a hard edge, because I don't want this to come forward. I want this to stay back. And then I came over here and darkened this in as we moved across. So this right here is, the cabin is put off by being darker at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's all I did, was I just did this section here. So that's the second part of the wash here. And I'll take a picture of this so that we knew where we started, where we stopped.
Mm.
And did somebody else come in?
Mm-hmm.
Joy, are you there?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm just setting it up. Sorry.
Yeah, we start at 10:30.
Chicago time.
No, I know.
Central Standard Time.
I know. My husband was hospitalized and got dismissed this morning, so it was
Okay.
a chaotic morning.
I'm sorry.
So yeah, I'm just trying to catch up
Have you taken watercolor before?
a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. The one thing that what we do, my wife and I, my wife is Marilee, she does all the technical stuff. She's the brains and I'm just the brush of the operation.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you live at?
Well, I live in Chicago, but I'm in Florida for a couple of months right now.
Okay. I was going to say, there's a nice painting behind you that's showing
Yeah.
up.
That's actually the background of this condo, this lanai.
That's pretty nice. Okay. We do a video. We videotape this.
Mm-hmm.
And since you came in at this point, unfortunately, you have the videotape that will be sent to you within about 2 days. And
Okay.
it'll be sent to you, and you can watch it for as long as you want. You have it forever.
Okay.
As long as YouTube is up, you'll have that forever. And if you can't follow along and just listen and take notes today and ask questions, that's fine too. And you can do the painting and send it to me via email, or you can show it to me next week. But
Okay.
I'm sorry you missed the first part.
Yeah, I knew that was probably, would be challenging, but yeah, it just worked out that way.
Yeah, well, life gets in the way sometimes.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
and also we're sending the packet with the photos of the steps.
Yeah, we're sending with the packet that we send you, we're sending the stop and start places with the still photos. So you know
Okay.
where I stopped and where I started again.
Okay.
So we'll see what you can do just from the video. Like I say, take notes, ask questions, and if you want to kind of mess around with the watercolor today on what we're doing, that's fine.
Okay.
Is her husband going to be in the hospital long? Is her husband going to be in the hospital long?
Is your husband going to be in the hospital long?
He got out this morning. That was
okay.
What took a while. Yeah.
Yeah, I know it does. They'll say you'll get out at 8 o'clock and you're there at 4 o'clock.
Right.
I've gone through that.
Mm-hmm.
The release procedures are not.
It was not fast, or else I would have been on time.
No, they're not fast at all.
Don't worry.
Don't worry, we've been there.
So, okay. Well, I don't want to disturb you, so I'll listen. And I have taken a little bit of watercolor from one of the palette and chisel instructors. So
Okay. Who did you take from?
Don Yang.
Yes, he was one of my students back in the 80s back in the 80s.
Yeah, he's a great teacher. He really cares.
Yeah, he's a nice fellow.
Mm-hmm.
But you can ask all the questions you want at this point. Don't feel like you're interrupting me.
No. I mean, I love what you got so far, and I have to figure out how to get there.
All right, that's not a bad idea. Because right now I'm up in the north woods of Wisconsin. So that's where we're broadcasting from.
Okay.
We've been living up here for 3.5 years now.
Okay, it's a beautiful place, Northwoods.
Oh, yeah. I've been coming up here since I was a little kid, and we inherited my parents' house on the lake. We sold it and bought a log cabin in the woods. Remember, everybody, don't get involved with detail. Big areas to small areas.
Are you watching me paint?
What's that?
Are you watching me paint? The minute you said that, I'm like, whoa. Don't get
Well,
involved with detail. That's right. I forgot.
we get involved with things because you go, oh, this is nice. That's nice.
That's
And we
right.
keep on
Yes.
going.
That's
I understand that. As I always tell everybody, when I was a student, I thought detail was the best thing to start with. And I was putting highlights on the bolts on the battleship before I even touched the battleship. You don't want to do that. It'll take you 100 times longer.
Mm.
And don't be afraid to make mistakes. I was watching a lady whose name is Cindy Barron yesterday on a video with Eric Rhodes. I have one of her videos here. She works much different than what I do, but she had her aha moment was when she was working with a lady who has passed away now, Anita Ingalls. She lived in Minnesota, and Anita used to use practically a whole jar of the frisket, liquid frisket, on some of her paintings. But she learned something else from her about throwing the watercolor out there in pure form and working on top of it. And it's really quite interesting to watch her work. I had recommended her to Denny and Sue over at Dillman's to have her out there, but it's going to be a while because I know she's booked. But she always says, as I've said, take your mistakes and work with them and see. I had a lot of paintings I've been going over the years and see if I can save any one of them. And that was probably the best teacher I had outside of the training from college, is that I would work with that and see how I could make them work. The ones that didn't work, I threw away. And I did make some of them work. But it learning how to correct things is important too.
Yeah. Well, this is what I've got so far.
Nice.
Let me come up to just a minute. I'm on a sliding rule here of people.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Your tree in the middle got a little bit too dark. What you need to do is to leave it dry, or you could do it now actually, is spritz some water on it and pull up some of that color.
Okay.
And you want to try to make sure that the color changes as it comes down.
Sure.
Because up here it's going to get warmer, and down here it's going to be a little bit cooler because it's receiving more sun up here. And I'm going to be adding to the tree, but this is the basis of the tree right there. So I added more ultramarine blue to the combination of burnt sienna and raw sienna up here, and I allowed it to get darker. And then I just waited a moment and then started painting the structures alongside that. Some of it would just sort of soften into the structure and not have a hard edge. I'm hoping your husband is okay, Joy. You're on mute. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's okay after all. So
Okay,
a couple
good.
days, and yeah, he's back. So thank you.
That hurts just thinking about it. I also told the folks that if you're anticipating missing class, just to send me a quick email that I can pick up in the morning.
Okay.
So I know what to expect. But you had a different type of situation.
Does that mean she's off the hook for bringing donuts next week?
Yes. That's from the virtual donut shop.
Right. Well, welcome, Joy. We're so happy you're here.
Thank you.
Tell Joy how long Janet's been in this class.
Janet's been in the class since she was 12. She's 17, 18 now.
So you all do this together regularly for a long
yeah, I have people that go in and out because of other obligations, but I have some students that are quite constant. You know, and they've gone up and down with their skills, but mostly up, because you don't go up all the time. You know, there's things that you run into, and I do quite a bit of experimenting with my watercolors here in the studio to find new and different things that I want to teach the students, but I don't want to run them ragged in a workshop too much. Some of them say I do run them ragged, but
yeah, I've learned at Palette and Chisel that people are in the same classes for over and over and over again.
Oh yeah, I taught at the Palette and Chisel in person for 16 years, and then the pandemic hit, and then I was going to go back, and the riots started in Chicago, and they had tanks on the corner, Hummers, and I decided just to do Zoom. And my wife and I then 3.5 years ago moved to northern Wisconsin. So now I'm doing internet. So we had internet all the time up here. Before it was kind of sparse. But we're out in the middle of the woods up here, so our phone is sometimes choppy, but it's not too bad now. Used to be we had to run up the road 2 miles to the main highway to get phone service. Right, have my wife climb a tree.
So Dale, this is Judith. This is what I have. Let's see. I can't. I'll have to
I can see
change
you.
my display. Oh, look, I couldn't see whatever
Oh,
I'm showing
Okay.
you.
Your tree you could spritz some water on the tree in here.
Yeah.
It's a little heavy, a little bit dark. Spritz some water on it and lift some of that.
Okay.
Other than that, you're not bad. I also have the foreground a little bit warmer with the raw sienna in areas.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
And Joy, I also told the folks that on week 4 and 5, we're going to be doing one painting for 2 sessions. It's a waterfall. So that it's basically 2 sessions of nothing but the waterfall. So we're going to be doing 4 different paintings within this 5 weeks. But the 4th one will be 2 weeks.
Okay, there you go, Dale, Marty.
Okay, Marty, you can add a little bit more raw sienna in the foreground.
Okay, I was thinking that. All right.
Yeah, straight raw sienna, dry brushed on an angle, dry brushing.
Dry brushing
Yeah,
straight on
don't
an
worry
angle.
about too much texture because I'll be adding more texture.
Okay.
Ah.
I'm ready.
Okay,
Um,
show me what
but-
you have.
I'm gonna try it like this, but I want to tell you afterwards what I'm struggling with.
Okay, hold it up more. Okay, what kind of it looks nice. I like it. What kind of green are you using?
I have a sap green. I'm not used to using a green. And it's Winsor and Newton.
Okay.
It's bright, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or like
when you use the green, add a little bit of the raw sienna to it,
okay.
and a little bit of the burnt sienna to tone it down.
Okay.
Greens are an interesting color going from, well, they're all interesting, but going from one name brand to another. I'm using Core watercolor paints, which is made by Golden Paints. I've been using them for about 5 years.
Okay.
And I like the way that the paint reacts on the paper. Doesn't mean you have to use it, but it's something that I do recommend to people that are looking for new colors. But it's an interesting paint. The only color that they don't make that I use is the brown matter. I have to go to Winsor Newton for that or some other name brand. They make something similar, but not quite. It's my substitute color for alizarin crimson, because alizarin crimson is a kind of a deadly color sometimes, and other times it's a wonderful color to use. I use both, but I dropped the alizarin crimson when they were not making permanent alizarin crimson back then, because it was just a stain and it was a rogue color, which means that it faded quite fast. So brown matter is like alizarin crimson with burnt sienna in it. It's a little bit more organic. And
can I share that? So I was watching, and probably all were. I was watching the way your relaxed hand, and then I got to using my dry brush, and my hand was out of control, and lacking confidence and lacking grace.
I understand that because I use the brush. I hold the brush a lot like this sometimes instead of like this. This gives me a little bit more variety in the brush stroke, and it took me a while to gain confidence with it, because when you're doing this, you're restricting yourself.
Okay.
And this I use a lot in this fashion uh, because it gives me a more variety of the paint stroke. And it's just a matter of getting used to it. The other way I was restricting myself, and I felt like I was writing a letter to grandma all the time. But yeah, every artist has their ways of doing things. I do things quite a bit differently than what I was taught, so many years ago. And I used to teach my students at the academy to explore the different uses of the brush to get different techniques. And I do clean my palette off quite regularly so that I'm not getting into mixing up what one would classify as muddy color, overly gray, colorless. That barking, woofing in the background is our Welsh Pembroke Corgi, Miss Poppy. She likes to make comments on anything that moves out in the woods. And always stay with the biggest brush at the beginning that you have, because you're working from large to small. Don't restrict yourself with a smaller brush, but you are going to see me restrict myself momentarily with the figure that I'm going to block in at the beginning of this next passage. The figure I put in mainly because it kind of gives a little bit of a story of what's going on. There's a lot of abandoned homesteads up here from the mining time and lumberjacking. That the mining has gone down quite a bit, of course, but they're still clearing woods and so forth, but it's not what it used to be around the turn of the last century, where they'd have lumber camps and so forth.
The sun is coming from the left of, where's the sun coming from?
The sun is coming from the right. It's shooting down through here. You can see a little bit of light here. Okay. This tree is putting this part in shadow on the building. And then this right here is in shadow to a certain extent. It's kind of a mid-tone value, because it actually is coming down. This is receiving a little bit of light here, only because probably the way the cabin has warped itself to where it's kind of leaning, the top is leaning back and this is bowing out. But I put this building in back here for balance of this one, because it needed something back here, and that's when I decided I'm going to put that figure in standing instead of stooping.
Okay. Thank you.
It's just a matter of recomposing what the photograph is, but I use the photograph as a base for my subject matter. I don't copy it per se. There's always adjustments. Nature doesn't make the perfect composition. There's too many things in it. Sometimes it's in the wrong place. It's leaning the wrong way. It's the wrong color. It's too dark, whatever the case may be. And you can butt in anytime, Joy, with questions, please. Don't feel that you can't butt in. You can.
No, thanks. I will. I think I need to probably watch how you did these washes and got this down.
Okay.
Because I'm somebody who would want to do detail too.
Yeah, like I said, I was too. Just to give you a little background on me, I knew nothing about art when I entered the American Academy in Chicago as a student. I was 22 2 years old at the time.
Mm-hmm.
When I was 19, 18, 19, I was an apprentice plumber. During that time, I lost 80% of my sight, and I
Oh,
ended up
wow.
having brain surgery, and had to learn how to walk, had to learn how to climb stairs, and I could not spell words at all, hardly. I couldn't remember who I just talked to. There was a number of things, the hurdles I had to
Mhm.
go over, and I decided, since I had my eyesight back, I wanted to use my hands and my eyes. So I liked art always, but I didn't think you could do anything with it. But I ended up at the American Academy of Art in Chicago. And I went there for 3 years, took a lot of life drawing, took watercolor, took the foundations program that they offered at the time, and took illustration, oil painting, and watercolor, of course. And a year after I graduated, the director, Irving Shapiro, he hired me to teach there, and I was there for 22 years teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I got my start in the art. So basically, I always think of it as going the wrong direction, and God slapped me in the back of the head and says, "Go this way." And basically, one of the best things that happened to me is I met my wife there.
Mm-hmm.
We started on dating on a bet I lost.
But did you?
Well,
So-
yeah, I didn't want to date anybody because I had a $10,000 hospital bill to pay for and school, because the insurance
Mhm.
company dropped me before I got out of the hospital. And I had a wonderful brain surgeon who said, "They want you out today. You're not leaving." This was on a Thursday. I'm not going to let you go until Sunday. And he paid for the last 3 days in the hospital.
Oh, that was nice.
Wow.
Wow.
So
Hmm.
he also came out to the house twice, which, a brain surgeon coming out to the house.
Right.
I mean, this was an 8-hour surgery and 1 hour close-up. And I was awake through everything except for the last hour.
Wow.
Wow. But you found your passion and your calling.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they weren't using Craftsman saws, I found out.
Dremel drills.
And they were using Dremel drills.
Oh,
But yeah, it was an experience I wouldn't send my worst enemy through.
Yeah. I bet.
yeah.
But the American Academy, great place. I wish I would have gone. Instead, I went to work and worked in marketing. So,
Well, it went out of business last year.
I know.
And
Sad.
the man that bought it in 1991 was very greedy and was more interested in the money than the standards of the school.
Mhm.
And he really didn't know how to run it. And plus, he had bankrupted 3 other schools.
Oh,
And I don't know. It's not a very nice man. I
Wow.
don't want to get into it, but not a very nice man.
that's too bad because it's produced a lot of great artists. Yeah.
Well, produced wonderful artists, tons of artists, but unfortunately, he ran it into the ground.
Sad.
Okay, have I seen everybody's work so far? Except there's Janet. Okay. All right. You can get your darks a little bit darker, Janet, on the building up in here. I'm pointing at the screen. I should be pointing over here. A little bit darker. You want to use a little bit of the ultramarine blue with the green and a touch of the burnt sienna.
I didn't use the burnt sienna. That's what I went on. Okay.
Because I allowed this to wash in, and if you can see this in here, it's showing up ultramarine blue right in this area.
Right.
That bled into there also.
Right. Okay, thanks.
All right. So is there anybody here that I still need to look at?
Oh, I think you need to look at mine's not that great, but how do you get to see it? do I put it underneath this or that?
Just hold it up in front of you.
Oh, that's easy. Okay,
Okay, up higher.
it's not great, but
Not too bad. Your
not
building got a little
not too
bit,
bad.
your building got quite big for what we're doing.
It sure is. It
Yeah.
sure is. Yes.
You did a close-up on it, but that's all right.
Okay. You
one
want a
thing
close up?
One thing I will tell you, try not to use blue tape. It will throw your colors off, your color relationship. I
Oh,
always use something
good
that
point.
is
Neutral.
or I
Okay.
don't use any at all.
Oh, very good.
But the blue tape will throw off what you have out here.
Oh, that's a good
You're
point.
creating color relationships, and the blue is not good for that. Blue, green, whatever, just keep it neutral.
All right, good idea. Thank you.
Go to your hardware store and buy regular masking tape. It's
Oh.
cheaper than going to the art store.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to start up again. And I'm going to go into the foreground. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take a little bit of water on the toothbrush, and I'm going to spritz right in here, in that area here with the main tree. Let it sit there just a little bit, and I'm going to pull up a little bit of that to get texture. It
Does
comes
that-
up easier.
Does that work better when it's dry? When you're painting?
Yeah, it works better when it's dry.
Okay.
When I usually use the toothbrush in a couple of different ways is I'll pull up some of the watercolor when it's dry with just water. Other times when I've done a passage and it's still wet, I can add water to it to make it move a little bit quicker, or I can add other colors into it that will kind of meld itself with that color and give it a different variation. But there's a number of things that you can do with it.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
I'm going to take the raw sienna. I'm going to start back here just for a moment. You take the raw sienna, and when you put one color on top of another, it's going to change it, obviously. I'm going to go back in here, and I'm going to add a little bit of color back in here. I'm going to take a little bit of the burnt sienna, and I'm going to add that back in here also. And then dry brush the rest out into there, and also a little bit up in here so that it changes color. Now, I don't like the abrupt change up in here. It's from this color to that color. So I'm going to take the toothbrush and just kind of massage it so that hard edge goes away. And then just take a little bit of that dry brush there. Now I'm going to go into the foreground. I'm going to start up near the buildings and work down. And what I want you to be conscious of is that I want you to paint in different directions, but mostly kind of rising up to the buildings itself, so that it's not going horizontal, it's not going on this angle, it's going on this angle. So it kind of moves our eye up to the cabin. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take ultramarine blue and I'm going to block this figure in. And I'm going to take the burnt sienna, mix it a little bit in here. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to very, very simply block in the figure. Not a lot of detail. And I'm going to be kind of very ambiguous about this, because I don't want the figure to be noodled out, as I call it. I'm just blocking it in. I will refine it later. Now I'm going to start with this back in here, and I'm going to move down, or I could start with this down here and move up. I think what I'll do is I'll probably start off in here, move down and over with all these washes. So I'm going to take the raw sienna with a little bit of the ultramarine blue, a touch of the burnt sienna. I'm going to dry the brush off a little bit, and I'm going to work in a fashion that is not connected. In other words, all the washes won't be connected. I'm going to jump around a little bit, but they will be close enough that the eye will automatically connect them. So it's kind of lost and found edges. I'm going to bring it right up into here. I'm going to use a little bit of ultramarine down at the bottom here to separate the vertical of the trees to the horizontal of the ground. And then I'm going to start swiping.
What kind of brush is that?
This is a Chinese calligraphy brush.
Oh.
From Rosemary.
It's from Rosemary. And I'll show you the whole brush set right here. It's $34. With the tariffs, it went up a little bit. But I got these 3 brushes along, well, actually 4 brushes. One is horsehair, one is rabbit, one is squirrel, and one is wolf.
Oh my gosh.
They're wonderful brushes. I've used this one before. I haven't used these 2 yet. But they are extremely reasonable. They come in this case. But for $34, you cannot buy real hair brushes. And these are high quality. These are not the old calligraphy brushes that used to be sold with the bamboo handles and so forth. Rosemary makes excellent brushes, but if you want to look this up, my wife will send the.
We have a brush handout that I will include in it.
Yeah, she'll do that
Thank
brush
you.
handout
That'd be
to
wonderful.
everybody so that you can see this. But I highly recommend it.
And there's links to Rosemary, and we are affiliate members, so he sells Rosemary brushes, and we get like a dime for every brush. Actually, we get brushes, but it's equal to about a dime per brush.
Yeah, so it isn't a lot.
Mhm.
So as I come down, I'm making bigger brush strokes, smaller brush strokes in the background. I am going to take the toothbrush while it's still wet, and I'm going to spritz a little bit of color back in here. A little bit of the ultramarine blue, a little bit of the burnt sienna, and I'm going to take a little bit of the green, and I'm going to spritz in for some texture, and I'll continue doing that. I'm going to add a little bit of burnt sienna to this and a little bit of the ultramarine blue. I want a little bit of contrasting value here and there.
Wow.
But I'm doing more texture up towards the building because this is our focal point. And then I'll smooth it out a little bit so we don't have texture everywhere, because it'll be too busy for the eye. And I'm not going to put it everywhere equally. And then what I'll do is I'll change directions a little bit. And what I'm going to also do is I'm going to modify some of the texture with a little bit of the a damp brush so it doesn't become too busy. And use a little bit more burnt sienna. And I'm barely touching the paper here. I'm going to bring it up in front of this building here a little bit. I'm going to take a little bit of the raw sienna with the ultramarine blue. So it gets a little bit grayer, a little bit darker in value. Dry the brush off just a little bit. And I'll be adding other passages into the areas I've already painted, so it's a little bit wet and it will soften up right away. Now, as I come out towards this area out here, I'm going to lighten it up quite a bit. So I'm going to take a lot of the raw sienna. I'm going to take a little bit of the green for the fact that I'm trying to move all the colors around, and with so much green on the buildings, I'm going to bring this down in here like so. And then I'm going to go in an opposite direction over here. I'll worry about the cast shadow in front a little later in this particular case.
What is that stroke? Just a regular stroke here.
Yeah.
To make that
my brush is on the drier side, and with the high texture of this paper, the indigo watercolor paper, is that I end up having the texture happens quite easily. Now going in opposite directions here on some of it. Now, while it's still wet, I'm going to add some darker areas in here that will automatically soften because it is wet. And I'm looking at the pattern that I'm making, that it's not connected, but it's enough to lead the eye up.
Wow.
I don't want to put it everywhere equally, because as soon as we do that, we're losing our variety that we're looking for. Now, I'm going to take the pure burnt sienna and I'm going to move it right up into here, which will attract the eye. And I'm going to take that and move it up into the tree here. So I'm glazing across what I've already done. Not worried about the branches, the trunk. You always worry about the foliage first, and then you worry about the branches and the trunk. And I'm using pure pigment at this point. No cross mixing. Then I'm going to bring a little bit of that down into the grasses, that it doesn't become isolated in one spot. This will help unify the painting.
Not quite like that, though.
So I'm just barely touching the paper. And I want to put a little bit over here. That's not the pure burnt sienna, but it has the majority of the color is burnt sienna. And I want to move it a little bit over here also. Just that I'm spreading that color around a little bit more. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 1-inch flat before I finish, and I want to remove some of the color back in here by lifting. I do want to address this tree here before I finish too, but I just want to remove a little bit of the color. And we have a very straggly look going on here. This will be in shadow later on, but I don't want to do it just yet. I want it to get that color in there. I'm going to take a little bit of this raw sienna here and burnt sienna, and I want to add a little bit more value change up in here. Like I said, the trunks of the trees or shrubs or whatever they are, I'll deal with later. I take a little bit of ultramarine blue. And I'm overlapping the building quite a bit because that shows a little bit of depth that way. And then some broader strokes up in there that are less busy. And I'm going to take my fingernail and bring up some lighter lights in here. So it's really learning step by step how to build a painting.
The fingernail works well.
Pardon?
The fingernail works well.
Oh, yeah.
That's wonderful.
That was one of the things that my wife said before we got married. Make sure your fingernails are clean. So you can see on how much color I've added at this point, and you've got everything kind of moving this way.
Is that 2 buildings, do you think, or 1 building?
I have it in my head when I did it as 2 buildings.
Okay.
One's way out in back of the other. Let me get a picture of this, because if I forget, I get in trouble. But I'll put it up closer to the camera so that you can see it here. And I'm going to go rinse my sponges out, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. If anybody has any questions. Originally, I was thinking of changing the color of the building from green to something else, but I thought the green was a nice contrast.
Okay, I'm getting lost in the grasses, literally.
Yeah, me too.
All right, I'll show you where I'm at and see if you can.
Okay, you hold it up a little bit further, Janet.
Oh, your grasses are better than mine.
A little bit further. No, hold it up a little bit further. There we go. Now come closer. Okay. All right, you got a lot of darks, spotty darks, instead of allowing it to blend.
Right.
And you need to have a broader brush stroke with that. And if it's not blending, hit it with the toothbrush with water and it will spritz out on you.
Yeah, I think you're talking to me too, Dale.
Yeah, same thing with you, Marty.
Exactly the same. Yep.
Marty, we're tracking each other. We're in the same field. I guess
But we have texture, Janet. We have texture.
Right.
There you go.
We're all over the texture thing, Dale.
And there's more that's going to be done with this. This is just the second phase of what's there. And you notice that these darks are remaining fairly soft. And they're more or less out in front. I'm going to put a few more over here or down in here, but I want to put the cast shadow in down here first. It's not going to be real dark. It's not going to be as dark as what's in the photograph, but I wanted it to connect to these so that it's dark up into these spotted darks up in here. But the more you make them sharp at this point, it's going to attract the eye in the wrong way. The cabin and the tree that's out in front of the cabin is the focal point. Because not much is going to be done with that figure either. Just going to be an indication. It is interesting to explore these places, especially when I was a kid, the ones that were abandoned.
Yeah.
There was one a couple miles from our house when I was a kid, and the whole place was abandoned. Everything was left, clothes, food, everything. They were run out of town, we found out from the stories. It was a Polish couple that had gone down to Milwaukee to visit family, and in the train station, they picked up pamphlets. They didn't know what it said because they didn't speak English that well. And they brought them back home, left them on the kitchen table, and a neighbor came over and saw them. It was communist material.
Oh.
And this
Crying out loud.
was during the Joe McCarthy era.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ridiculous.
And word had spread, and they were run out of town.
Poor thing.
Oh.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Here's what I have so far.
All right, let me come up to you. All right. You got a path here?
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Get rid of it.
I put a path where there is no path.
Yeah. Yeah. The riding lawnmower went through there.
Exactly.
If that path out front, and I'm not saying I didn't think of putting one in, to be truthful, Diane. I did think about it, and I think it would interrupt the foreground too much.
Yep.
And take away from the focal point. So there's things that, I'll look at it and say, well, do I want this? Do I want that? No, I decided to take it out or not put it in.
So is that any better, Dale? Or do I need to do more?
That is better, but you could do a little bit more.
Okay.
Especially right through here, and try to drag that brush on that angle.
Okay.
I mean, you've probably seen fields of high grasses waving in the wind.
Yep.
This is the beginning of it. It looks like
Stuff
it actually
that
looks
all
like
gets into
like
the
a sea of
dog hair.
grass. Yeah.
Okay. A little more.
Okay, Dale, Judith is ready to, this is what I have so far.
All right, you got a lot more green, but I'm not going to say that's bad.
Okay.
It actually is working well, so we're going to leave that as being more green.
Okay, so yeah, that wasn't the intent. So should I paint right now with a little raw sienna?
A tiny bit. Also, your tree up in here,
Yeah.
let it come out a little bit more. It's too vertical, too equal.
Really? Okay. Well,
And I've got more trees in the back here. If you notice the pencils, pencil marks, those will be put in the next phase. But it's nothing that it was an afterthought. I put them in to help balance things a little bit more. And I'm still thinking about whether I need them or not.
Okay.
And I can show you how to take out the pencil lines if you don't want them. Because I'm looking at it now in the monitor and I'm torn between taking them out and leaving them. Hold it up a little bit higher, Janet.
The big water.
All right, it's getting there, but you still have a lot of little spots that run right through here.
I can't.
Soften them up a little bit.
Don't go that.
Just for water though.
Nope.
At least put a mask on.
Yeah. You should not be out.
Mary, is your husband telling you what to do?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
What did you ask about my husband? I think he's
Sure.
making lunch.
Oh, okay. I thought he was telling you how to paint.
Oh, no, 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 no. He's
No,
making
that was my
he
husband.
liked what we had here. I think he liked
Okay.
it.
That was your husband, Marty.
Yeah, Flu Boy. We're out of, we're on well water and it's terrible. So we
Oh.
buy our water.
Ah,
And Blue Boy wants to go out and get some because I can't lift those big things. I'm like,
Oh.
oh, no, you can't go get.
those things are heavy.
They are. I can go get the little gallon ones.
Well,
I think for every gallon of liquid water is about 8 some pounds.
Yep.
So those things are quite heavy.
Heavy. I put in we have a pellet stove, which I love, love, love. And yesterday I did struggle to put the pellets in and my back killed me all night. So I just can't do it.
Oh, we had a propane stove put in,
Uh-huh. Do you
and
like it?
we decided against the pellet because we'd have to stack them someplace. And
Yep. Yep. You're right. Half our garage is pellets. Yep.
yeah, and our propane stove, even when the electric goes out, we put batteries in the battery pack, and it still heats the house.
Yeah, our backup is propane.
Yeah,
But I'll tell you, I love this pellet stove. It's my favorite thing. This is why I never have to move to Florida, is my pellet stove.
there you
I
go.
could sit right in front of that thing. I'm happy as a clam.
There you go. Yeah, our propane stove we love too. We had it put in a little over a year ago,
Mm-hmm.
and it was well worth. I mean,
Yep.
it's
Yep.
nice where the guy put it in, and it works perfect.
Yep. Before that, we would have to just go to bed. It's the only warm place in the house. Oh,
Yeah.
bedtime, 6 o'clock. But now we can stay up till 7.
There you go.
oh, oh.
That's funny. We used to lose our electric up here when I was a kid once a week. Our power grid
God.
was nothing, and we had those little screw-in fuses. I think we had 3 of them in the house.
Uh-huh.
The good old days.
Yep. The good old days.
Those were the days, my friend.
They weren't that good.
Any questions on anything?
Well, maybe I'll ask a question. What else should I do?
Let me come back up to you.
Up here? Can you see?
Just a minute. Hang on. Hold it up a little bit more.
A little bit more light?
Your roof got a little bit green, but we're going to darken it up. That's not a problem.
Oh, it is very green, isn't it? Yes,
Yeah.
I see that.
Mine is very light, but
Okay.
you're going to darken it up anyways in certain areas. But if you could lift some of that.
Lift some, okay.
Yeah, especially in the front right here, because I like the pattern of tar paper, that quilted look on the roof where they patched and repatched and stuff. That adds a little bit of character to the
Sure.
painting itself.
Okay.
See if you can lift up some of that.
All right.
Because I will be going into the cabin and the surrounding area next. And then very quickly doing the foreground. Not a whole lot, but.
Dale, I do have a question.
Yes.
I see the lines on the left of the page that you were going to have a tree in the sky, but you took it out.
I haven't taken it out yet.
But you're not going to paint a big tree there, I'm guessing.
I had put saplings over here.
Okay.
Okay. And I changed my mind. One big reason is that we have this tree here, we have this tree here, and then we have these trees over here. And these are evenly divided.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. So I'll show you right now how to take them out very easily. Right through the watercolor. You take your kneaded eraser, and I can go in and erase them right through the watercolor like so, and they'll disappear. I usually tell students that if you see pencil lines and they're bothersome, you can paint, over them or whatever the case may be. And yet, if they're not bothersome, I leave them. There's some pencil lines that show in my paintings, not a lot, but you can take them out. So you can see that they've disappeared now.
Yeah,
Mine aren't
compositionally,
coming out. I don't know why. They're still there. And I am kneading away here, but
I use a 7B pencil, which is a soft lead.
that's what it is. I'm using
that way it comes up a little bit easier.
yeah, that's what it is.
I used to use a 2B or a 4B.
Yep, that's my
7B.
problem.
That way, when you do a wash across it, some of the lead comes up automatically.
I may go ahead and do mine will have those trees because they're there.
All right. I am going to go ahead, if everybody's in agreement, and continue. Anybody else that needs to show me something before I start?
Okay, I'll show you. It did get better with the lightning of the roofs.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Good. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to start again. And we'll see where we end up here. I'm going to start with the buildings first and then work out from there so that I can judge from what I have here to what I don't need or need out here. So I'm going to start and I'm going to pick up the smaller brush and my calligraphy brush.
Thank you.
And I'm going to start with the roof up on top. And some of this is a little bit darker up on top. And since the sun is coming down in this direction, I'm going to have a little bit of a cast shadow here on the roof, and then it goes up to where it's in light. So I'm going to take the ultramarine blue and a little bit of the green and a touch of the raw sienna. And that should give me a little bit of a cast shadow in here. Then I'm going to come up and I'm going to use a little bit more of the ultramarine blue and the burnt sienna and water it down a bit. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in that patch that's in the roof up here and just sort of let it bleed in. Nothing fancy. And then it has patches in between here, like so. There is a pencil line up on top of the roof I don't want. And I'll take that out. And I'm being very casual about this. I don't want to be real tight on any of this.
Dale, I have a question. When I have an appointment in 10 minutes, or
Yes.
I have to leave in 10 minutes, can we get back to what you're doing at another time, or what should we do?
Well, the video that we're going to send you will show you everything I did today.
Oh, super. Okay, thank you.
So you won't miss anything except the live part, of course, but you should be fine.
Okay, great. Thank you.
There's times that people have appointments, and that is, always something that happens. It's not a problem.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Good.
So I'm going in on the body of the building at this point, painting in between the trees, some little bit of negative. I'm kind of dry brushing this in. And then I have a little bit of the green with a touch of the blue because we have a little bit of a blue cast over here. Not worried about the windows until it dries. So I've added a little bit more blue to this. And then I come down, as I move around the painting, you'll see me change directions and so forth. I'm going to take the green here with the raw sienna, and I'm going to make a statement right out in front here with the raw sienna and the green. So that is a little bit more intense. And then I'm going to use a little bit of that green off over here. I'll worry about the windows when I come back around. But I do want to put in a little bit of darkness up in here and just sort of let it flow. One of the best things about watercolor is leaving it do what it does best and let it move. And you'll learn on how it's going to act anyway. So now I'm going to go to the back cabin here, and I'm going to put in very simple lines. I don't want it to be anything that is going to conflict. And I'm going to use something a little bit different on the roof. I'm going to take the burnt sienna and I'm going to maneuver it back in here. And it will kind of fold in a little bit with the trees itself. And it will not stick out or come forward too much. Now I'm going to kind of modify this just a little bit in here. And I'll worry about the actual structure on it a little bit later. I want this to come down a little bit more. And then while I'm working in other areas, it will dry. So I'm going to come up into the tree here with some burnt sienna. And I've darkened this tree up and made it more of a statement than what's in the photograph. So I'm going to dry brush this in. I'm going to put in some of the trunk. I'm going to take a little bit of the color with a little bit of the raw sienna, and I'm going to spritz that up and around the top to make it a little bit of a stronger statement. This one back here will not be as strong. And then I'll come up into the tree with the trunk and the branches. Get a little bit more water here. And I'm not trying to make them too distinct at this point because they would be a little bit overpowering, I feel. Just a suggestion. Put the smokestack in back here. Just the suggestion of the windows. Again, you're not going to noodle this out at all too much. put the cast shadow in from the roof. And then I'll put in the trunk and the branches, far less than what I tried to do on this tree here. I still have a little bit more to do. And I think I'll take my rigger brush, or sometimes called a liner, and I'll put in some finer handlings of some of these branches coming up and around. And I'll take a little bit of the same color, almost a little bit lighter, a little bit more colorful, and I'll finish off the branches that are on this tree. Bring them up and out to the border of the painting. Put a little bit of ultramarine blue right down in here. And then I'm going to go inside the windows here with ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. Make every window a little bit different for variety, for value, color. And when you're doing a demonstration, I never call these what finished painting. It's a demonstration on how to get to the middle area and do a little bit of finish. So I'm going to add a little bit more blue back in here, and then take that and just sort of run it out like so. And I will put a couple saplings in over the front of the barn here, or the building. And that will help kind of camouflage it just a little bit here and there. A little bit of detail in on the window here. Here you see through this window to the other side of the barn where there's light coming through. Now I'm going to come out in front of the building. With some raw sienna and just a touch of burnt sienna. Dry the brush off a little bit. And I want to intensify this in here a little bit more. just to bring your eye up into there. Taking a toothbrush with burnt sienna, a little bit of water, and spritzing some detailed texture up near the building here a little bit more. A little bit back here. And then taking the Chinese calligraphy brush, try to still make the pattern hold together in different ways here. And then take the ultramarine blue with a little bit of the burnt sienna or raw sienna and some of the green. That's too much. Let's go back to knocking it down a little. There we go. And I'm going to put in some sweeping washes in the foreground to darken it a slight bit, but not as much as what's in the foreground. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tip the board a little bit, spray it with a little bit of water, but not too much. It'll make it too light then. The reason why I'm doing it with this color is that it brings the color of the cabins down a little bit more. And then get it to adhere to the rest of the painting. And I will take a little bit of the ultramarine blue and I'll spritz this into here so it gives a little bit of texture, not too much. Bring some of that color down with the toothbrush, soften some of it, and then bring it over here, not quite as dark as it is over here, because our eyes are attracted to contrast of value first, and then light, and then the shadow colors push it to be lighter. And I'm adding a little bit of green up in here. Now, the last thing, two of the last things, is I have a couple of, I believe a couple of fence posts out here. Which will help lead the eye. And then I'll put the figure in. Just very simply. Because if you try to do a figure too tight, it's going to cause a problem too. Then what I'll do is I will darken up around the head on the building behind it just to slightly bring it out. Put a couple of wires in here with the rigger. Very casually. And not that they're bold, but they're, you can still see them. Finish off a few of the things on the trees here. I do want a little bit more pure burnt sienna on the tree. So when I spray it on, I can take another brush and I can manipulate it, soften it, or whatever. And now I'm going to add a little bit of that color in on the building here and overlapping the building just a slight bit. And then I want to bring up a few dark areas down in here, pushing and pulling the brush in different directions. And a cast shadow that kind of comes off of here, just a little bit, a soft cast shadow. Don't want it too hard. Let's see where we're at here. I want to pull out a little bit of light here. And a little bit of light over here. I'm lifting it with my 1-inch flat. I don't want to pull it out too light. I don't want too much contrast. And I'm going to pull out just small amounts of light up in the grass up near the building here. A couple lighter trunks here and there. And I think the last thing I'm going to do is I want to clean the palette and I want to darken or add some more color to the sky. So I'm going to take the cobalt blue, a little bit of raw sienna, so it's not too blue.
Oh, buddy.
And I want to add that up over here, kind of a grayish blue. Some feeling of some value changes up in the sky. Nothing too dramatic. Take a little bit of the raw sienna here. We'll warm it up as it gets down towards the bottom there. This helps with the mood of the painting. Add a little bit of accent of some cobalt blue here and there. Now, there's a number of things that you can carry on about this, but I'm going to take the tape off and see where I'm at. There are a couple of things I want to do before I do that. I'm going to take some of the ultramarine blue and the green again. And I want to see if I can give it a little bit more character in the foreground. And then take my brush. This way it's more random than if you try to put it in yourself. And it's going to dry lighter. So knowing how it's going to dry is one of the things that you have to learn, is how it's going to dry itself, how light, and it should dry quite a bit lighter. This is where you get into a lot of little things once in a while, final accents. I want a little bit of light dappling through here. Not much, just a little bit. Not that it's so dense looking. Now I'll take the tape off. Any questions at all so far? I think adding the color changes up in the sky help quite a bit to close in on the focal point. And it's kind of a nice, loose, rough looking painting. It's not tight. But that's where we ended up. But bringing the green down, brought the green down from up here, changing the sky did help kind of close in everything just a little bit more. And just a loose figure, I added another post right there leaning in. Helps you lead the eye just a little bit more. And the building in the background was just blocked in. It's not something that is coming forward. So all the contrast of value was on this building, very little on that one. Any questions at all?
Yeah, then review the sky again. That's cobalt and
I used
raw
the
sienna.
cobalt and a raw sienna up in here, and then
Okay.
I added more of the raw sienna as we moved over here.
Okay.
I didn't do anything with this,
Okay.
so there's kind of a even transition from one side to the other.
Okay.
And I added a little bit of rust in the roof of the, or the burnt sienna in the roof of the building in the back, just to make sure that it doesn't separate from the rest of the painting. But I tried to keep the painting simple today because we had some newer people, so I didn't want to go into craziness. I'll do that to you later. Any questions at all before we leave? What's that, Janet? All right, that's not that bad. Your foreground needs to be more colorful, a little bit darker. And I put a lot of the color up in here. You notice how I made this travel down and around. And then out here, I brought this color down here so that this is not the only color where we use this, the green. So I brought the green and blues down here with a little bit of brown in them.
Yeah, this one threw me off because you always do your path going like up to the house, and this horizontal like completely threw me off.
What?
Which is good because not all paths go
There is
right.
no, yeah, but there is no
Go vertical.
path. The only person who put a path in was, I think, Diane. Was it?
That's
I
right.
know, and I felt so at home in your painting, Diane.
Oh.
Marty, that came out pretty good. You can get your darks a little bit darker in the foreground here.
Okay.
But
Okay.
not bad.
Thank you.
Look at you guys.
And your path, or your path, now you got me saying it. You could bring this over a little bit more to over here with a lighter green.
Okay.
Cut it off right about here.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
And then yeah, okay. Do you have a patch right up in here that has kind of a clump of a hard
Yep.
edge on it? See
Yep.
if you can soften that a little bit.
Sure. Thank you. Again, I think it's a candidate to repaint too.
Well, when you repaint it, if you do, you can always do it half of this size. You know,
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't want to do it if you don't want to do it this large. You take this size paper, cut it in half, flip it horizontal, and
Yeah.
do a smaller study.
Sure.
Okay, Dale, this is where I am now.
All right, that's not bad. It's different than what I have, but it's working well. I never judge it by what I have.
I kept losing the raw sienna, right?
Yeah, but that's
the main
fine.
difference. Yeah.
No, in this case, it doesn't.
Yeah.
You did fine.
Okay, good. Thank you. I kept putting the raw sienna in and then
It disappeared. I know.
No, Judith.
dang.
Well, it does that. You have some colors. Now, raw sienna is not a powerful color. The sap green has a little bit more powerful pigment to it. So
Yeah.
you're not going. One will overtake the other very easily, and you have to kind of balance that off.
Okay.
That happens. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think I'll hit it with a little more raw sienna and we'll see. But-
I wouldn't do that.
No?
No, I leave it just as you have it because it's working well within its own frame of reference.
Okay.
So it's fine. If you start adding things at this stage that is opposite, it's going to make a mess.
Right.
So
Okay. Well,
I would
what
leave
about
it alone. And
this tree over here, can I get more raw sienna in
yes,
that
you
one?
can get more raw sienna in that. You can
In
work
that.
out maybe a little bit more detail in the building, but not too much.
Okay.
You could add maybe a little bit more raw sienna and burnt sienna up near the cabin, and that
Okay.
would attract the eye better. But that's as far as I take it.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much.
Everybody,
I need to run because I have other things going on, other appointments. But I will
Okay.
see everybody next week, and I need to keep working.
yes, you do. All right, have a good weekend.
Bye-bye.
Don't fall in the snow.
Bye.
There's none here.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you.
You're leaving too, Janet?
Mhm.
Are you in Florida next week or are you still here?
Still here. One more
Okay.
week.
Had to
Yeah.
make you think, didn't I?
Yep. Not till the following weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you next
Cool.
week then. Have a good weekend.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Right. Okay, thank you very much. I guess are we done at 2? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Thank you. I will
Thank
see you
you.
guys next week,
All right.
hopefully out of a healthy household.
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Take care, guys.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. So Dale, I should just kind of follow the video when I get it.
Yes,
and-
you'll get it in about 2 days, Joy.
Okay.
And you can, send me the finished painting or send me the painting that you have with questions and I will get
Okay.
back to you. Or you can show me the beginning of class next week and I'll comment on it then.
Okay. Yeah,
Whatever
if I
works
can
best for you.
finish. I'll try to take a picture and send it to you.
That will be fine.
Okay. All right. Thank
Yep.
you. Thanks
You
for your
bet.
help.
Have a good weekend.
Beautiful piece of work.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a great day.
You too.
Okay.
All
And
right.
thank you. And see you next week.
Okay. Bye-bye, Judy.
Bye-bye.